All right, everybody, welcome back. I am pumped for this one. We are diving into something pretty incredible today.
Yeah, this one's really cool.
So, we're looking at this model called O3,
Oh, three.
O3, and it's supposed to be this, like, next level AI,
Yeah, cutting edge.
cutting edge.
Right.
And uh, what's really interesting is the stuff that we're looking at today, the source material is actually in Spanish,
It is.
which is really cool, right? I mean, not a lot of people are going to have access to this.
Right, sure.
So we're kind of giving you like this behind-the-scenes peek at what's happening in the world of AI development. And the thing that's really generating all this buzz around O3, would you say it's the complex reasoning and the context, like how it understands context?
Yeah, I think that's really what sets it apart. I mean, we've seen a lot of different AI models, language models and things like that come out recently. But this one just seems to be
Okay, so we're not just talking about like your average AI assistant here.
right, exactly.
We're talking about something that can really like think on a higher level. So could we break it down a little bit?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that make O3 so different, so special?
Yeah. Well, one of the first things that really jumps out at me, and that's highlighted in the research, is its problem-solving ability.
Problem solving.
Yeah. And it can work with tons of variables. So, think about something like predicting market trends or any kind of complex system where there are lots of factors involved. O3 can really sift through all of that and find those hidden patterns, connections that maybe a human wouldn't be able to see right away. And then it can even start to present you with solutions, potential outcomes, all of that kind of stuff.
So it's like having this like brainiac, like super brain
Yeah.
that can just analyze all this stuff for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can handle all these complex problems.
Right.
But how does it not get lost? Like, how does it know what to focus on? What's important? It sounds like it's getting hit with tons of information. How does it handle all that?
Right. Yeah, that's where the context piece really comes in. I mean, it's one thing to be able to crunch numbers and find patterns, but what makes O3 different is that it can really adjust to the user. So, let's say you're researching a new topic. If you're just starting out, O3 can kind of meet you where you're at. Give you that basic understanding. Use simple terms, things like that. But if you're already an expert in that field, it can really go deep with you. It can get into the nuances, the technical details. And so it's not just like a one-size-fits-all kind of approach. It really can tailor itself to what you need in that moment.
So it's kind of like having a conversation with somebody who understands you. Like they know where you're coming from and what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've got problem solving, we've got context. There's another thing too, right? Something about like multitasking.
Yeah,
And I've got to say, I can barely like walk and chew gum at the same time.
right.
So how does this thing manage to like juggle multiple things at once?
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing that really sets it apart is that it can process multiple streams of information all at the same time.
Wow.
So, you can imagine a researcher who is trying to analyze, huge data sets while they're also trying to write up a research paper, right? O3 can assist with both of those things simultaneously. So it can be keeping track of the data analysis, it can be helping you to structure the research paper.
So it's like having an extra set of hands.
Yeah,
Or should I say like an extra brain?
right, exactly.
So we've talked about all this amazing stuff that it can do, but how does it even learn all this? Like, where does it get all this information from? How does it start applying it in all these different ways?
Yeah, so this is another really interesting area, and it gets into this concept called transfer learning. So basically, O3 can take what it learns in one area, in one task, and it can apply that to a completely different task, a completely different area.
Okay.
So, an analogy that they use in the research is to think about like a chef.
Okay.
Right. So if you have a chef who has mastered, all these different types of cuisine, they can start to blend those flavors, those techniques in new and creative ways, right? To create something totally new, totally unique. And that's kind of what O3 is doing. It's taking these building blocks of knowledge from all these different areas and figuring out how to combine them in new and interesting ways.
So it's not just like memorizing facts, it's understanding how those facts work together.
Exactly.
It's like this knowledge alchemist.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. Okay, so we've talked about all the theoretical stuff,
Yeah.
but let's get down to brass tacks here. Like, what are some real world applications? How could this actually be used? And I know the source material mentioned something about like university professors.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine a professor is trying to teach a class of, 30, 40, 50 students.
Right.
And each student learns differently, right? They
Yeah.
come in with different backgrounds, different strengths, different weaknesses.
Absolutely.
So O3 could help a professor to really tailor the course content to each individual student. So it could analyze, past performance on tests, homework, whatever,
Okay.
identify areas where a student might be struggling, and then even suggest, personalized learning activities.
Wow. So it's like having a personal tutor for every student.
Right.
That
Yeah.
would completely change education as we know it.
Yeah.
And what about other areas? Like what about research?
Yeah, so in the research field, it talks about, how O3 can help researchers to analyze massive amounts of data. It could help them to come up with new hypotheses, test different theories. One really interesting example that they give in the research is in the field of medicine.
Yeah.
So they talk about how a doctor could use O3 to analyze a patient's entire medical history, their genetic data, all of the latest research on a particular condition,
Yeah.
and then use all of that information to come up with a really precise diagnosis, a really personalized treatment plan.
Okay, that's getting into some like sci-fi stuff right there. That's amazing.
It is, it is.
So we've talked about education, research, medicine. I mean, the possibilities seem pretty endless here. But for the average person, what does all this really mean? Like, why should they care about this O3 thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the main takeaway here is that O3 isn't just about making things faster or more efficient. It's really about augmenting human intelligence. It's about giving us tools to tackle these really complex challenges in ways that we never could have before. Some people might be worried that AI is going to replace humans.
Right.
But I think with O3, what we're seeing is more of a partnership.
Yeah.
It's humans and AI working together to solve problems, to make new discoveries, to create things that we couldn't have even imagined before.
It's like this whole new era of possibility opening up. Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. Thank you so much for breaking all this down for us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And for everybody listening, I want to leave you with this. If you had access to O3, what would you do with it? What problem would you solve? What would you explore? Think about that.
Yeah.
Because like we said, the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy diving, everybody.
See ya.